Raahubaat Muysar. Kabul means welcome. Welcome, Kabul. Welcome, Muysar. Welcome to our new, I can say, NoopooH supporters, right? Welcome to anyone who's out there that's new to our news report. This is NoopooH News, our weekly broadcast for Fridays. We just try to give you guys an update each week about what we think or it's important that's going on in the world, specific topics we should pay attention to, things we really need to keep our eye on, things we need to focus on, and we try to make you guys aware of it. We just hope that you guys take this information to heart, do your own due diligence, do your own research to verify anything that we put out there for the general public. It is important, it is imperative. As being students of Raahubaat, remember, our culture is based on being able to make decisions based on sound, right reasonability. This is what we stand on, and you can't make intelligent decisions unless you have the right knowledge, the right information, and this is what we're dedicated to getting you guys, the right information, which will help you in making right decisions, better decisions, because as you can see, we as black people all over the globe, African people, we're suffering is due to our day-to-day decisions, and it's due to the fact that we have the least amount of right knowledge. And unfortunately, we seem to specialize in having wrong knowledge. And the more wrong knowledge you have, it is the greater the wrong decisions you're going to make. And the more the wrong decisions you make, the worse your life is going to be. So today's discussion we're talking about is the Great Reset. I don't know if you guys heard about this or not. The Great Reset. It's very, very important topic that you guys really need to be aware of. What is the Great Reset? Here's a news report on this particular subject. Check this out.
What is on your radar, Kim?
Well, Glenn Beck was on Tucker Carlson's show last week touting what has been called a right-wing conspiracy theory and discussing his new book, The Great Reset, Joe Biden and the Rise of 21st Century Fascism.
It explains why the schools are tracking with the DOJ, why Fauci with the vaccine mandates, why Fauci is hiding his relationship with big pharmaceutical, our gas prices, the First Amendment rights, the January 6th people being set up by the FBI. All of this, Tucker, this is the most important book I have read. This is the most important, or that I've written, this is the most important topic of my career, and I think this is the most important topic in the world today. The Great Reset is not a conspiracy theory. It is something that the Davos people have put together along with the World Economic Forum.
Okay, well, maybe that all sounds a little bit loony, and believe me, I do think Glenn Beck tends to be a loon, but maybe this isn't such a crazy conspiracy theory after all. And after seeing everything we've seen with the governments enacting all sorts of authoritarian controls and many other conspiracy theories coming true, maybe there's something to be concerned about. So what is the Great Reset? The name even sounds conspiratorial, but believe it or not, it's a real thing. The Great Reset started off as the name of a meeting held by the World Economic Forum in the summer of 2020. The World Economic Forum began in the 70s. It's basically a club made up of world leaders, corporations, and other wealthy elites. Every year, they get together in Davos, Switzerland, and pontificate about how to best manage the world and solve problems. This year, the meeting starts today. However, due to the pandemic, like last year, the winter in-person Davos meeting has been postponed to summer, and instead they'll be hosting the meetings this week online. And the conference kicks off today with a special opening speech by China's Xi Jinping. But basically, think of it as a bunch of hoity-toities getting together in a bougie ski resort town to make connections, rub elbows, collaborate. Sometimes world leaders make some peace and prevent war, which is a good thing. Sometimes people will fundraise money for causes, which is also a good.
Okay, so now the Great Reset is about rich and powerful white men in government and business with a sole goal of managing the world. That is what the organization is about, and the whole thing about the Great Reset was, what do you do in a situation like a pandemic? Because the pandemic disrupted global trade, it disrupted economics on a global basis, and so the Great Reset was about, how do we fix this? How do we prevent this type of disaster in the future? And that's where the concept of the Great Reset comes into play, was coming up with ideas to address a pandemic or any kind of global disaster, right? And so they have, this agenda that these rich white men came on the scene with. And guys, remember, we did that discussion on black power versus white power, and it ties into this whole concept of the Great Reset, which is really controlled by the bankers, the global bankers who really own and control the planet or dictate the planet, because they have everybody living based on money. And I talk about that a lot. But now they did a commercial for this Great Reset. Now check this commercial out. What their intent is in this particular commercial. Look at this. Hold on. So the commercials. Hold on.
Forms Facebook page corporations, and you would have no privacy. Take a look at this video published in 2016 on the World Economic Forum's Facebook page.
So it says, you will own nothing and be happy. This is what they're promoting. Whatever you want, you'll rent, and it'll be delivered to you by a drone. It says the U.S. Won't be a world leading superpower, because it'll be a one world power.
You'll own nothing and you will be happy. That's what they're saying. With inflation sky high and no signs of it slowing down, they might be right. We are on our way to becoming a nation of renters. But don't worry, it's nothing to fear. Just the opposite, says Bloomberg. If you're
okay, and so, again, it's about how the global elite is going to control the planet, right? This is the goal. And guys, we as black people, we don't have a seat at the table. These are white men making these decisions on how they're going to influence your life, how they're going to influence your day-to-day actions. The question is, what are you going to do about it? The master teacher has been warning about this for over 50 some odd years. This is why we put out those series of books called Leviathan. If you research the books we put out, the Leviathan series, it talks about how the global elite is ruling this planet. And, it's just another phase of the so-called New World Order. That's all this Great Reset is all about. It's just another phase of that. And so it's about, what are we going to do? And that's why I talked about in our first news broadcast this month, right? We're in January 2022. The first broadcast we did was we talked about the 6 degrees of separation, how you're only 6 people away from contacting anyone on Earth. And I said, if we set up a program where if we can get 100 people to say, you know what, just choose one person you want to recruit, to share right knowledge with them, to teach them about right knowledge, to teach them the importance and significance of black people, focusing on our culture that is designed to work for us, rather than us continue to live these foreign cultures where we're being controlled and ruled and manipulated. This is what, the whole focus is to try to educate us, because this is the only way we're going to be able to fight these things. The only way you're going to fight their systems that they got set up, designed for them, to work for them, is for us to start working together, networking together, doing things that are designed to help us. So this is what we're dealing with. Like, here's another report, right? This is about Mitch McConnell, right? Mitch McConnell, who is a U.S. senator. He's the head of the Republican Party in the United States Senate, and he talks about how African Americans are different from Americans. They're talking about voting. Now, listen to this, and I'll try to start it from the beginning so you guys can hear it clearly.
Concern is misplaced, because if you look at the statistics, African American voters are voting in just as high a percentage as Americans.
So you see that? He separated African Americans from Americans as if we're different. And we are in their mindset. They see us as different, right? They don't see us a part of their system. So why do we think we are? Why? Listen to this.
He said it. Telling you exactly how he feels about you. That came after the Voting Rights Act. Didn't get passed in Congress and the Senate. Didn't get the votes there. Sharon, I think sometimes if you listen close enough, if you pay attention, they'll tell you exactly what they think and how they feel about you when it comes to you being an African American here. Now, a lot of people are going to make excuses for Mitch McConnell and say, oh, it's just a slip of the tongue. It ain't a slip of the tongue. It's a dog whistle. But the only dog that's running is that Mitch and the other GOP lapdogs that Donald Trump, but they really are. I think that's why Donald Trump is the leader of the party right now, is because that's exactly what he's leading. That is what he is feeding off of right now. In their eyes, we're still separate yet unequal. We've never been equal in this country. And that's the issue that we have at hand here.
You hear that word?
Look, here's the thing. I will say one thing.
Equality.
Because if you look at the quote, he says, African Americans are voting in just as high a percentage as Americans. Look, you know what he said. You can say the slip of the tongue. But he's kind of right. And this is the reason why they're implementing all these voting laws. Because we are voting in high percentages. We did come out in, 2008? We did come out in 2020 in record drop.
Right, we come out by the millions voting for who? White men to rule us. How does that make any sense, guys? And what do we have to show for it? We have no power. We control no levels of government. We don't control economics in this country. We don't control the education in this country. We don't control the media in this country. We don't control anything. But yet we keep voting. The whole purpose of Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement was for our people to be able to get equality in this country. And they used voting, or they believed voting was the methodology for our people to gain equality. Well, we don't have no equality. First of all, they killed him. And so there goes the movement. And we've been voting ever since by the millions. Why? What do we have to show for it? And you can clearly see why people don't consider us a part of their system. That's what Mitch McConnell is trying to say. You got black people over here and you got the rest of us. They're not going to share power. They have no interest in sharing power with us. That's why I talk about, whenever I do, our discussions, right? And we talk about the core principles of Wu Sabat, right? And when you go down to the bottom, we talk about, well, what is our purpose? And our purpose, I have number 2, we say our purpose is to acknowledge and fight sixth ether from promoting capitalism, the gay agenda, miscegenation. And for those who don't know what miscegenation it is, that's just race mixing, so-called equality of the races, and racism, white supremacy. Now you see the word equality. Our people has been fighting for equality, trying to be on equal footing with Europeans, with Caucasians who have no intentions of sharing power. When are we going to wake up, guys? And so you see their plan for the Great Reset. Their plan for the Great Reset has nothing to do with us. This is basically consolidating the elite's control over the planet. What are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And I keep telling you, the only way we're going to be able to fight this is for us as black people around the globe, as African people around the globe, to start working together, guys. We're the ones with the right knowledge. We as Sabians, we're the ones who are teaching the right knowledge. And it is up to you guys who are students of right knowledge to go out there and teach our people, to educate our people. This is how we get strong. This is how we begin to get control over our lives, rather than allowing these people to keep making decisions for us. Our lives are going to continue to be miserable as long as we allow white men to maintain that kind of control. And they only have control because you give it to them. We do not have to give them the control. We need to stop listening to them. We need to stop allowing our children to be educated by them. Guys, We can build our own. We have the ability to do it. We have the intelligence to do it. We have the willpower to do it. Guys, let's do it. So this is our report for today, Friday, right? As we do our reports on Noopoo News, it's just to kind of keep you guys up to date, keep you on your toes, to keep you aware of what's going on in the world, what their plans are, what their strategies are for us. That's my job. And it is your job to spread the word. And until then, why do? Peace and blessings to all you guys. And much love and unity, which is the only solution to our problems.